Hello everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Clarity Project. And I'm super excited to welcome someone whose expertise and dedication has shaped countless young minds. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome Ms. Sirisha Chittoor, the head of mathematics department at the Delhi Public School, Bangalore East. With more than a decade of experience being an educator and a mentor, she has mastered the art of teaching mathematics at the highest level. Not only has she prepared numerous students for the CBSE Board Exams, but she's also an acclaimed resource person for the CBSE's capacity building programs. And she's also a certified counselor. Her accolades include prestigious teaching awards, recognition from the Ministry of HRD, Government of India. She has a stellar track record in guiding students through JEE, Olympiads, and even international applications like the UCAS. In today's episode, she's going to share her insights on how to excel in the mathematics paper, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to excel with confidence. Let's jump into the podcast. Good morning, Sirisha ma'am. Thank you so much for being a part of the Clarity Project. And yes, and maths is something many students they fear, right?
True.
And I've always observed that there is, when it comes to preparation, okay, of all the papers, the maximum effort students put are mainly two subjects. One is maths and second is science, and only after that they tend to kind of focus on the other subjects, right? So your expertise being mathematics, right? Firstly, for the 12th grade students, if you could brief about the paper format, the paper pattern, right? It would be really helpful. And if you would like to share the screen, that will work as well.
True. When it comes to 12th grade mathematics, the pattern actually contains 21 mark questions. In that, 2 will be assertion based and reasoning questions, and 5 2-mark questions as I am sharing, 6 3-mark questions, 4 5-mark questions, and 3 4-mark questions. That is case based. Every student, even my smartest, I ask them to start with section D. That is 5-mark question. There are 4 5-mark questions. So for them, I give them timing. How do I make them divide the timing is tentatively. How do you have to plan? So 5-mark questions, 45 minutes, I tell them, even if they really do it in 40 minutes, it's done. So they calculate and they have to allot each question, the timing, and then they do it. And 3-mark questions, I tell them 30 minutes. There are 6. Can they do it? Yes, that is how we have to practice when we are doing sample papers with the timer. And 2-mark 15 minutes, case study, that is section E, which is comprehension based. So they have to think, they have to crack that and then attempt it. So I give them 30 minutes. If they start with section A, it takes a lot of time. So they consume so much time, they will not have the track of time. So my section A will be the last because it's knowledge based. But in section A, when anybody is practicing for board examination, any reference books, whatever I ask them to do, I always ask them to do MCQ questions. Because in MCQ questions, the 2 marks will be considered, 3 marks will be considered, and 1 mark will also be considered. So the more they practice, they can handle all these things. So while practicing my MCQ questions, I want them to crack. It will be useful for competitive exams also and my board exams. So we concentrate more on MCQ because MCQ will be a combination of all types of questions. So this is the plan which I give my students and it works. And yes, we give them, for example, 5-mark questions. I actually tell them, there is nothing like anybody can really get less than 40 or 45 when they really prepare NCERT. Everybody asks me, why do you give so much preference to NCERT? NCERT is really good book and it's really sequentially ordered. It's a guide for them. I tell them it's a guide. So even in integration, the hardest chapter, they think. So the way it's segregated, it helps them to do any reference if they follow NCERT. So, CBSE released document, which I have downloaded from the site. And this is the one which this is for 11th grade, we follow and we give this. This is the reference where they have to start preparing. We tell them they have given unit-wise weightage. That means relation and function is 8 marks. Okay. If they give it in 5-mark question or 4-mark question, you should not panic. I have prepared you to write do relation and function question. Where in which section it comes, it should not matter. So that we have to prepare them. Because if they have already prepared, it's my 5 marks, I didn't do finished. That means I'm not preparing them in 360 degrees. So I give them this. The board has given the weightage according to unit wise. So even when I'm preparing for unit test or half yearly, we never give chapter wise weightage or a blueprint. We give unit wise. Because when it comes to calculus, if you see in 80, 35 marks calculus, 35 marks. That means if it is 40, means 50%, less than 50%. That most of the marks will come from calculus. So whether in each unit has few chapters. Algebra, for example, if you take relation function is this, inverse and both. Algebra means matrices, determinants, 2 chapters together. So we have to prepare them. From algebra it comes. Either you get from determinants 5 marks or matrices, it should not matter. When starting with the 1-mark question, when it comes to 1-mark questions, there I ask them to do rough page. Rough column should be there. Why? There are many students who really work and they don't write it in the main paper. So either they do A, B, C, D, that means options only, it's fine. Or you write the statements, it's fine. But wrong options, right statement, right options, wrong statements, there is no half marking at all when it comes to MCQs. So you do anything, no, there is no half mark or full, only 1 mark. Yeah, 15 minutes reading is important. That's what I wanted to talk about. I tell them after reading the question paper in 15 minutes, start thinking about 1-mark questions. Either it's very easy or something you can do it. Most of the questions they finish in during that 15 minutes. They don't write it. I make sure that because they have to adhere to the rules and regulations of CBSE. They do. While reading it, can you make out? Can you analyze? Those things as very quick. And at the same, that 15 minutes will change the confidence of my children. Identify the question you are most confident about. Start with that, because I don't want them to start with something with messy question paper or answer sheet should be given. So whenever the very confident paper, they should start. So that whenever a teacher opens a question answer sheet for evaluation, she should be happy. And it should not block her mindset to give marks. So that is done. Yeah, and then strategize. Which section to attempt first? That is to build the momentum. Section is important. I cannot switch sections. So whenever they are presenting, they cannot go to section A, again section D, again section A. No, CBSE doesn't allow. You start with any section you want, you are comfortable with, but finish that section. So those are the tips which I give at last. So this is very important during that 15 minutes reading time. Which section you wanted to start, you decide, because it should go smooth. But I wanted them to start with 5 because we have grinded them so much with 5-mark question. They are confident enough. But it depends on the child.
Absolutely, ma'am. In fact, the point where you have mentioned, which section to tackle first, right? So once a student is able to identify, okay, first I should go for the section 5, right? Then I should go for the section C, right? So that sequencing is something which it will be very useful for many students. And you explain the logic behind that. Because that pressure also, if a student is having a lot of pressure, to finish off some big question which is going to come at a later point of time, it can affect your current answer as well. Yeah. And once students are able to offload that pressure, then automatically their other sections will be much easier for them to tackle.
Yeah, because even my best students at times tell me I panic. I
Hmm.
don't know how. I was prepared for 100 marks full, but I didn't get one and I started panicking and I messed up everything. That should not happen. We
Yeah.
prepare them for that. This may happen, this may not happen. You at least do. So when we prepare them from section wise, at least they will be confidently handling the marks
Hmm.
of scoring the marks. Okay,
Yeah.
they will not mess up the whole 80-mark paper and come out. So
Yeah.
that is how we have to be, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, Srisha ma'am, in your experience, what are the silly mistakes, the common silly mistakes that you have come across in spite of repeating, giving them the suggestions not to do A, B, C, and still the students they end up doing? And very commonly observed mistakes where students they tend to lose marks.
Yes, sir. Whenever theorems are being, we ask the theorems, I ask them to really follow NCRT given solutions. That means, as it is, that they cannot change theorems. At the same time, I want them to write the supporting statements to it, supporting formula or identities, whichever they are using. If they don't write, then the marks will be cut in between. So that also there is something which makes lot of while writing the steps and diagrams. Whenever they are doing the diagrams on the graph paper, I wanted them to really follow the scale. If they don't follow, roughly if they do, really it affects the whole shading part and the whole presentation will be messy. When it comes to integration, I wanted them the stepwise. I don't want them to skip steps. If they skip steps, confident. There are few students who are very confident. They skip, but they don't carry the numbers to the next step. So those things which I have seen, I tell them you have to even if you are confident, follow the steps. Each and every steps you just present it so that skipping during that skipping those things will not be affected. And copying the question, most of the students in a hurry they copy the wrong questions, wrong equations. That also they solve everything, but copying the question will be wrong. So we may not be able to give the marks for the but procedure we can give, but he'll be losing because of the simple silly things. So I want them to do numerical calculations till the end. And whenever they are marking some points in the coordinate system, I don't want the decimals, it should be a fraction. So though this a student who is actually doing 12th graders may understand what I am speaking. When they are marking some coordinate point in a graph paper, they should not use decimal points. Okay, they have to leave it in fractions. Shading is important. For shading the region, it carries marks. And table, linear programming table is required. So and putting the box for the answers, those are very important. And if they are able to give diagrams, it's best. So those are the things which we actually tell them while writing. Yes, I think, yeah, I
So,
have seen most of the times carrying the step forward, they will do wrong.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
numbers. It affects.
And coming to the next question, where the focus is on how to maximize their scores. So, what are the areas that a
Mm,
student needs to focus on to ensure that they maximize their scores? So, these are all winning points,
mm, mm,
right? So, in when I was preparing for my boards back then,
mm,
I realized that the amount of time I was spending for a group D sum was so high that I started losing focus on the other groups, the basic kind of questions. So similarly, in a theory paper, students they focus on all the big answers so much that they don't focus on the objectives and the easy areas where they can score. So, and I have realized that this is a common problem across all the boards as well. So, what can a student do to maximize the scores? Or there are key areas in a paper where student can actually go ahead and score without even thinking twice. So yeah.
We when it comes to scoring, sir, I actually tell them to concentrate in calculus, because if they are strong in calculus, everything will go smoothly, and attempt the questions in order. If Because we have given them the choice of changing the order, not in the same section, the different questions he can start with. It may also affect the child, because what if they may skip in between any questions or options of A, B, C. If they have internal choice, they may not even see the second option. So those things happen. So I tell them attempt in order. If at all, if they attempt section wise, whatever section they have taken in order, it will help them. Okay. And for anybody really to score, I want them to see the weightage first. According to the weightage, your preparation should be there, and attempting the questions will also affect. As you time mismanagement, where spending too much time on tough questions and taking as a child, there are few students who will be lost. They will take it as a challenge during examinations, something. So I tell them, if you are stuck something, leave that question, go to the next question and come back. That's why when I've shown the timing, I have given 15 minutes reading time. So everybody asks me, in the paper, final answer, question paper, when they are handing, do you need that? There's 15 minutes of reading time? Absolutely. The children will switch sections, will jumble the questions. So they have to check whether they have attempted everything. There are many students, because of this changing of order of number of order question, many they have left, even the parts, whatever, they have left it. So I tell them, use the time properly, try to stick to the order. Even if you switch sections, doesn't matter. Please at least follow the order, and don't leave the questions anything blank. So but try not to leave that, so that while reading the question paper, anyway they have to read the question paper. Last 15 minutes is very, very crucial for them, because reading the whether they have attempted everything is very important. Then they have to tick whether they have done it or not. So whether I have attempted all these questions or not, they have to count. 38 questions will be there. All the 38 I've done. Extra questions, if they want to attempt, I ask them to attempt every question. What if something, I will get grace marks, happens in between? What if I don't want to lose? Rarely it happens. It never happens. But I ask them to do all the questions, attempt it in order. At least put the question mark, go to the next page, and at the end you can strike it, because at least he knows that he didn't do the question when he is browsing the paper at the last moment. Okay, I have left the place for that question. Again, I have to do it. He'll keep that in mind, and it will help. As you told, yes, 1 mark question is also important, because if my 1 mark questions 20 marks, it's like same 4 5 mark questions are 21 mark questions. For me, it balances. So I have given for that also 45, and 1 mark questions also 45 when I've allotted the time for that. So because it's equally important, 1 mark will change the destiny, or the change the scores. When they go through reading the paper is very important. When they're submitting the paper, checking the paper, very important. Those will really change, or will help them overcome those hurdles, or not scoring, or making mistakes. Those things will help actually. Skipping the steps in calculation, I've already told you, they should never do it, because they will not carry the previous step forward. So these are the things which I tell them, which will help. For common mistakes, whatever they do is these things. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay. And as far as the paper presentation skills are concerned, I'm
Right.
sure that plays the most important role in creating the first impression for any examiner, right?
Mm.
So, as an examiner, what are the key things that you look out for in a paper, which makes you very happy, and you
Paper
feel that
presentation.
okay, yeah, the paper presentation.
Okay. Um, First thing what I tell them is structure your answer neatly. Write step-by-step solution. Highlight the answers with a box. Paper presentation will really give them, yeah, for in when it comes to math, uh, whether it's 99 or 100, I have seen the paper is neat actually. They present it in a well-mannered way. It depends, yes. The way they present it itself will show that he will cross that border, because the answers are structured neatly. The steps you see, but 99, yes, they write it. They would have written every question, attempted all that, but there are few steps they would have skipped. For that, we may not give that half a mark or 1 mark. So there is a lot of difference between 99 and 100, where I have seen that with my experience in presentation. Yes, the difference in presentation. So where is that 1 mark he has lost? Not that he would have made some wrong or something in writing the steps in with the key. When we tally with the key, something is missing in between. So for that step, we wouldn't have given that 1 mark. So it makes a lot of difference. Yes, as very good questions. A paper presentation is very important. Yeah, first thing what I wanted is structure. Structure should be good. That means step-by-step solutions, labeled diagram clearly. When it comes to 3D geometry involving graphs and everything, it gives you marks. Attempt in order, as I already told you. It goes all the things goes on repeating. Yeah, section wise, try to, but switching sections doesn't matter. Everybody will switch the sections, but order may not change the order, because the child is so prepared that he will follow the order, but you can leave space in between the answers. Don't think what if I'm writing wrong or something. So don't think, write it and come back. Don't leave the answers empty sheets and come back. That is paper presentation, sir. And going on striking it, even if you strike in mathematics, it doesn't matter. I'm not correcting something theoretical, analytical. So if he does something wrong, again, he should not panic. In math, it happens. Strike it only with one. Don't scribble, just one line. Again, you can attempt the same question after some time. Doesn't matter. He can score 100, because it's not like neatness I will give, but if the paper is presented neatly, it will give the impression. And yeah, whoever has scored 100, the presentation was good and the paper was actually presented very nicely, sir.
I would like to personally thank Sirisha ma'am for taking out the time and doing this podcast. I'm sure each and everyone who is watching this or who has seen this finds it really, really insightful. Remember, everyone, mathematics is not about memorization, it is about understanding and practice. Stay confident and good luck. Bye bye.